where it's kind of taking that backward C shape and it's racing to the east. And so there's a look at the severe thunderstorm warning for Delaware County. Right now, Benton County not included, and you can see how they're kind of cropping off the warnings as this system's racing through. But literally, just in a few minutes, this system is going to come ripping through northwest Arkansas. So we have just a tremendous severe weather event happening right now, and we're about to get the brunt of these storms as they come through. And we'll be able to take a look on some of our sky cams at the lightning activity that's popping up to the west. We also have that storm that's close to Cartwright Mountain that is approaching the south side of Washington County. Unfortunately, Cartwright Mountain is literally stuck in the clouds. So if we bring this up on the Mega Doppler computer, on the WeatherBug computer, and this is from Cartwright Mountain, you can see some of the lightning activity with this storm. So we'll go ahead and we'll bring that up, and there you can see at times not much happening, and then all of a sudden just a ton of lightning on there. And so this is stuck in the clouds. This is a storm that's approaching southern Washington County, the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. If you have friends or family that are on the Bobby Hopper Tunnel, they're about to encounter really heavy rain on highway on I-49. And this is going to be producing some strong winds as well. Now, the hail size isn't great. It's not super large, but it could be about the size of pennies or dimes, which is a little under severe limits, but mainly the winds are going to be the main threat. So we're about to get that thunderstorm warning that's moving in. So Weather Service doing an incredible job out of Tulsa, trying to put all these warnings on here and putting all that information on there. Let me go ahead and we'll go back. There's so many polygon warnings that it's even tough to keep track of them.
It really is.
Melissa, check this out. You can see this system coming in, all the water vapor, and this is about as textbook and classic as it gets, as this system just noses in and punches in, and it brings all this energy, and the storm's just absolutely exploding tonight. And you were tracking storms. We had tornado warnings earlier in Franklin County.
Yeah, we did, and fortunately, those we did not get any reports of major damage or anyone hurt, thank goodness, but that was just the beginning. I mean, these storms have really started firing up over the last several hours, and as you can see the line in eastern Oklahoma, we're not done with this yet. There's so much energy out there. If you just look at the lightning associated with this, I mean, hundreds, thousands of strikes as you look at the radar. So yeah, we've had several tornado warnings throughout the evening with this. We still have that tornado watch until 2 a.m. So people really do need to stay alert into the overnight hours, because these are the most dangerous storms, the ones that come in after dark, and you're really ill-prepared for them.
And on top of that, too, with the tornado potential that's there, maybe not as significant as it was when that isolated supercell was tracking through Cherokee, Adair County, these storms can still produce brief spin-ups. Now, Melissa was talking about the lightning. You've got to see this. I'm going to put how many strikes are on here right now within the last half hour, and Melissa's, we're looking at 2,500 lightning strikes.
Wow.
And that was just within the last 30 minutes or so. So that's a lot of lightning. These are highly electrified storms, and it's going to be a noisy night, and that's why we're continuing to be on. And so we've had to cover this storm, just continuous weather coverage to give life-saving weather information. I literally have to take the lightning off of here. Let's look at if there's a lot of positive and negative strikes, and so what we mean by that is some big rumbles. You're going to hear some rumbles of thunder in a major way. So if we have reporters that are going out, the most significant damage will be in eastern Oklahoma, in Adair County, as well as Cherokee County. Cherokee County had a tornado rake right through the southeast side of Cherokee County, as well as western Sequoia County. Doesn't look like Siloam Springs has received any damage, and the storms are tending to weaken. Now, I'm going to bring up Mega Doppler because I want to look individually at these rotations and see if there are any, because we can't let our guard down with this type of system. Go ahead and repeat that, Hayes, if you were talking to me. Didn't exactly hear what you said, so one of our producers said. Go ahead and say that again. Hey, Hayes, were you talking to me? Okay, all right. Hayes was giving some information to our reporters, but let's take a look here at Mega Doppler, and we're going to kind of, well, there's a circulation right there that's west of Fort Smith. Let's see if it's legit, and let's see if it's real. No, it's what we call a false trip. So, but that's going to be some strong winds coming into the Fort Smith area. Very strong winds in the River Valley. Strong winds in southern Washington County with multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. Benton County, thankfully, not under warning. That could change. Maybe a little bit lesser severe weather threat the farther north you go. And let's look at these circulations here. There's really not a whole lot. Well, there is one there that's in northeastern Sequoia County that could produce a brief spin up north of Belafonte. And there it is right there. We'll see if that becomes potentially tornado warning. We got lightning now moving into Fayetteville. This is crossing over State Highway 101. So if there's any type of circulation, it's going to be right there. Just a little bit of a tiny one. Again, these are those little embedded circulations. And guess what, too? We're seeing that. And I've done a lot of studies on this, and this is pretty interesting. But you see this little back edge right here? This is showing descending rain and descending precipitation, what we call, and this is just fancy technical stuff, but I just want to show you why we're worried about this Belafonte storm. This is literally the rear flank downdraft that's starting to increase itself, and that point is literally pointing to where a potential tornado might form, especially if this starts becoming a little bit farther to the east. This is what we call a rear inflow notch. So that's what you're seeing, but it's really fast winds that are moving from west to east. It's pushing the reflectivity to the east, which is the rain, and that is a sign that you could have a brief spin-up. So these are the brief spin-ups that they're talking about with these storms, as they could potentially produce a tornado that does damage, but not like the one that we saw. So there's a circulation right there north of Belafonte, and there they have the information out of the Weather Service out of Tulsa. They're talking about significant wind damage in the Fort Smith area at the apex of the bow, and I agree with that. So this storm is just about ready to punch into Fort Smith. North of that, we've got this area of circulation that we're watching north of Belafonte right now, and wouldn't doubt if that could produce a little brief spin-up. That's going to be tracking very close to Uniontown and N4770 Road. And it's just, you look at the reflectivity, you look at the rain mode, and you just don't see it. But then you see this little descending reflectivity core, and then you know that that's happening. So, all right. So Peyton's gathering some information as well.
I'm covering damage in the morning.
Okay,
so
sounds
if you
good.
Hear anything?
Okay.
Text me. Okay.
Yep, sounds good. I'll let you know. So we've got storms that are forming in Devil's Den State Park. Let's see if there's any circulations. You got all these little embedded circulations that are trying to show up. Some of them are real, some of them aren't because of the mountains and the way that the radar beam bounces off. But I'd say the most interesting one would be the north edge of this bow, which is the bow echo, and this could be a tornado near Reeder Ford, as it is showing a little bit stronger of a circulation, and there you see it right there on the screen. These aren't the real classic strong circulations like you saw with the other storm that had the long track tornado with it. I know we're bouncing around on the radar a lot, but man, we have a lot of storms, and the storms are starting to get really intense in the Fort Smith area. So literally crossing the state line, moving into western Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, seeing a lot of storms as well. But thankfully in Benton County, you're just about ready to approach the time where you can maybe go to bed here, but not quite yet. We got to wait till this initial line comes through. By the way, if you're in western Sequoia County, where the storm went through, and you probably might not even have power, you'll be able to, let's just say, go to bed, because this storm's already moving east. So western Sequoia County, central Sequoia County, such as Vian, Gore, even Muldrow, Salisaw, you're done. Storms are over, and enjoy the night. So there's a storm system moving into Fort Smith. Strong storm right now over the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. Lots of lightning with that. The lightning will be increasing over Fayetteville. The banner is underneath Benton County. Let me pan down just a little bit so you can see that. As we take a look at the storms in Benton County. They're not quite as strong, so not quite as intense. There you see a little bit of rain coming through, but we still have that little area near Tahlequah. Let's go back to that circulation that was happening, and there you can see it's gone. Oh, there it is, tornado warning. It just issued it. That was the storm that we were talking about, that we were mentioning, and there's the tornado warning for that little part of the storm. So And this is crossing into, right now, Crawford County. So you see Sequoia County crossing into Crawford County, and this is southeastern Adair County. So anywhere along these lines, there can be these little embedded rotations. They form quick, they develop fast, but that little indication that I showed you, that little arrow that's pointing, hey, I'm about to put down a tornado or I'm about to produce one, that's where you see that in the reflectivity or the rain mode. So that's kind of what we were mentioning about. And granted, as fast as they issue the warning, it already weakens. So that's definitely a possibility. But there it is, and you can see that descending reflectivity core right there. I just think that's fascinating how that shows up. And the next thing you know, there's the circulation, and that just gives it the little extra kick that it needs in order to potentially produce a tornado. So a lot of storms. I know we've been kind of talking a lot about just the different storms across the area, but man, we have a lot of things to cover. So multiple severe thunderstorm warnings all across the area. If I do a storm track, I could just basically draw a line through the entire thing and put it east, but there's embedded storms within other storms as well. So Fort Smith is really getting pounded right now with heavy rain, maybe a little bit of a circulation right there. And yes, there is. That's a little dangerous, just to the east of Dora now, literally right over the state line. And that's located just east of the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line. So it looks like it's about to cross the Arkansas River, as well as areas of it looks like Lee Creek as well, so it's going to be coming through Lee Creek area just to the west of Rena, and that is something that we have to watch. So all these little embedded circulations that are showing up, and there it is. And oh, okay, all right. So Hayes, one of our storm spotters that's located in the River Valley. Hayes, go ahead and let me know what you're seeing. I'm seeing a strong circulation that looks like it's crossing over I-40 right now.
Yeah, yes, sir, Dan. Kind of nerve-wracking right now. We're up just past Van Buren. The wind, you can hear the wind. It's very loud. We are observing power flashes at this time. Here comes a strong wind right now. It's coming in my window. We've observed multiple power flashes at this time. It's a very dangerous situation that's unfolding right now. It's going to be tracking right into Van Buren, Arkansas. I believe it's on the ground. I really do, Dan.
I think we do. I think we do have a tornado on the ground, or at least some type of strong rear flank downdraft. Let me tell you exactly where this is at. Hayes? Hey, Hayes?
Yes.
This is going to be northwest of Rena Elementary.
Elementary.
Yep, west of Northridge Middle School.
We're getting strong winds now, Dan, and multiple power flashes have been observed. I'm really concerned about Van Buren in that area. The car is now currently rocking. We're in the midst of this thing, and all signs are leading to this thing's on the ground. So
yeah, and it's right on the tip edge of this bow echo too. So it definitely does appear that this system is pretty intense and could be producing a tornado if it's not already.
Very strong. My car is rocking, Dan. We're up just past Van Buren, between Cedarville and Van Buren, kind of up in the hill, trying to get a high vantage point to this thing.
Yeah.
It really rapidly intensified on top of us. Like I said, I'm observing at least 65 mile an hour to 70 mile per hour winds where I'm located right now. And the power flashes were back towards the city of Van Buren. And it's moving fast, Dan. It was moving really fast.
Was it a little north of Van Buren, or was it in Van Buren, the power flashes?
It was slightly north. From where I observed these power flashes taking place, it was going to go into some of the populated areas from what I could see.
I wouldn't doubt if this is a tornado warning that's going to be issued here for Crawford County, with the circulation that's showing up, the strong winds, and you reporting multiple.
Okay, we can't hear the sirens going off now. Just
okay.
Getting a little. It's slowing down a little bit.
Yeah.
Right now the wind's not churning as much. Still strong though. Still strong at this time. And like I said, I'm not seeing any more power flashes now, but it's there was definitely something, I believe, on the ground when it was coming in on that front edge.
Let me ask you this, Hayes, because you're our eyes and ears out in the field. Were these power flashes concentrated in one area, or were they kind of spread out like a wide swath of wind?
They were actually very concentrated in one area.
Yeah.
There were multiple power flashes in the same area that just lit up the whole sky green a few times. And then I immediately stopped in my tracks, just not knowing. And you know how these QLCS tornadoes are, where they spin up quick, cause small swaths of damage, but they are still strong. And along with the wind with this whole system on the front edge of it there.
This is exactly where it's going to be, too, right on the leading edge of this storm, right on the leading edge of the hook. There you see the actual circulation. There's the rotation indication. Now it's northeast of Rena. So if you're looking almost due north of Van Buren, and it might not be on the ground anymore, let's go ahead, Melissa, and tap that in on the NWS chat. Well, let's do it over here. I'm sorry. Let's do it over here because I'd have to control Mega Doppler radar. So let's go ahead and report that we had 48 knot wind gusts in Fort Smith, by the way. That's what it was reported as. And I think you were on the north end of that. So obviously the airport's a little bit farther south. Hayes, this is still showing a circulation now just to the southeast of Figure 5. It's about to cross State Highway 348.
348.
Yep, that's a little bit east of Figure 5, and it looks like it's just west of Rudy. If you know that highway that's west of Rudy, that's where it's going to be headed. So let me draw some streets on here. And there's a new tornado warning, and this might be the one for Crawford, Franklin, Sebastian County. Yep.
So.
Yep. So they've updated the tornado warning and just kind of translated it east, and it might be dropping off in northwestern Crawford County. The circulation that you were on is not tornado warned. I do want to repeat that. So this is a new severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued.
Okay. We've got some. We're in the damage path now, Dan.
Okay.
Literally, it just missed us down the road.
Yeah.
I've got trees in the road. Large branches. Trying to navigate this and talk to you guys. Sorry if I sound a little worked up.
No, I mean, it just happened. It came right through, right where you were at.
Very quick situation.
Very fast.
I'm making my way back into the town of Van Buren just to see. Yeah, we've got large branches, entire trees snapped.
Tell me exactly where you're at.
Okay, I would be.
Like, what crossroad are you on right now, just to get an idea for the damage?
I'm on Highway 64.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, Highway 59 heading south. Was heading north until we saw that couplet come on radar. Got real tight there.
So you were north of I-40 on Highway 59?
Yes.
That's exactly where the tornado went through, just north of potential tornado.
We've got some. I believe that the tornado did touch down, Dan. The path is not very wide, but I am seeing even some potential structure damage here.
Okay.
Right outside of Van Buren on 59 before you make your way up into the hills, basically. And that's what really got us to slow down and stop.
Yeah.
Because we saw that thing wrap up real fast, had a little notch on the front end of that line. And honestly, you know, it's really close call tonight here because, I mean, that came real close to us, and you know we wanted to be able to see it if it was. So we went up in the hills. Didn't really get a view on it because it was raining real hard with this squall line.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wrapped up so fast there wasn't much we could do at the time. You know,
so if you're just tuning in here, hold on just a sec, Hayes. I just want to kind of tell people, give them an idea what they're seeing and what you're talking about. So he has confirmed damage north of I-40 on Highway 59, probably very close to the Northridge Middle School. And there's the area of circulation. Now, this was earlier, by the way. This was at 11:08, and then here's the time at 11:10, and then 11:12. So clearly a circulation that went right through, and very strong circulation, as we were mentioning. That's why we got to continually watch the radar, every single update, and thankfully it has weakened as it made its way into Rudy. So it's a little less organized now. Hayes, I know you're seeing damage. is any of that damage is any of that damage in a rotational component or basically a convergent wind pattern? Do you see anything like that? What I mean by that is, are the trees laying down in different directions, or are they all in one direction?
Absolutely, and it's a very small swath from what I see, which is fortunate for what just took place. Like I said, we were very, very close to that circulation. Yeah. Almost too close at the time. We didn't have a lot of time to react to it, and that's the concern with these squall line tornadoes that spin up, because they just happen so quick.
Got to be on them, that's for sure. Hayes, go ahead and send me some photos if you can, and we'll put those out. Just go ahead and tweet me at WeatherDan, and then I'll go ahead and I'll share them on the air here as we're tracking additional storms. So just to show the viewers the damage that we have. And I haven't really hit social media. We have so many storms that are out there that I haven't even hit social media yet and looked at the reports and any other pictures that are coming out. So, Hayes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm going to get back into that area where we saw the most intense damage. The power flashes that we witnessed were not really close to this area. They were a little ways away. But I'm checking now. I'm actually pulling into someone's driveway. We have some large pine trees. The branches are down. A little bit of debris in the roadway. Mm-hmm. I'm not seeing too much structural damage at this time, but we are going to continue to move around here and try to observe what we can and see, where some of the most intense winds or the tornado track actually was, because like I said, it happened really quick here. So.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I know how that happens. What was interesting, Hayes, is you can see the storm evolving and developing tornado potential as we look at this rear inflow jet, like the rear inflow notch. It's just some technical stuff, but this is why we study meteorology. This is why we look at storms, so we can detect this stuff ahead of time. So,
absolutely.
Hayes, go ahead and send me some photos here. They're expiring the tornado warning for Sequoia and Crawford County, so that's good news. No more tornado warnings in effect. Strong storms that are coming through. It's 11:22. It's going to be a turbulent night. We can't drop off of these, even though these are severe thunderstorm warnings. They can and occasionally do produce tornadoes with little or no advance warning, which is exactly what Hayes experienced. Potential tornado. We got to mention that because Hayes is there. He sees the damage. Well, the Weather Service has to go out and confirm it. It could have been straight line winds, but judging by the circulation, seeing everything that was happening, I wouldn't doubt if that was a tornado that touched down. So, Hayes, appreciate it. Send me those pictures if you can at WeatherDan on Twitter, and that would be amazing.
Will do.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, so that was Hayes Nelson, another one of our storm spotters. So we had 3 to 4 storm spotters that have been tracking these storms, and this is why it's so important to have them out, eyes and ears out in the field. Here's an area of circulation that we're going to have to watch. It's got a little bit of what we call an inflow notch. It's on the leading edge of the storm. Notice how there's not a whole lot of other storms to the east of that. It's not contaminated, and any one of these storms can rotate, as we have that tornado watch until 2 a.m., so we can't let our guard down. These are a little bit of the unusual variety of storms. Because they can produce these tornado spin-ups very quickly. And there it is. There we go. West of Devil's Den. Melissa, we got another circulation that's popping up. We can see it right there. Bright green, bright red showing up. And then before I even looked at the velocity, you can tell. And look at, there it is again, that descending reflectivity core pointing exactly where it is. It's like I'm about to potentially produce a tornado right here.
We're seeing... the radar on both sides of the tunnel is just so active.
Yeah.
An emergency management personnel said they spotted a funnel on Wells Lake Road in Fort Chaffee area just 4 minutes ago. So up and down.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
And Melissa's here in the Weather Center, copied the funnel report. They've got all that. And
I'm kind of running back and forth in between
I know. You got a lot of stuff going on.
But yes.
And I've got to monitor the radar like crazy with these storms because they develop tornadoes so fast.
And they're literally popping up just as quickly as we can report them.
Yeah.
But 40 to 50 mile an hour winds in Huntington and EMP district. in the Sebastian County, and that's from the fire department. So that's something you've been mentioning, Dan, is the winds. Even if you don't have a tornado in your area, which God, hopefully you will not have a tornado in your area, but God willing, but the winds are 70 miles an hour, 40 to 50 miles an hour. So that can most definitely do a lot of damage to structures. As you just heard our storm spotters mention, seeing lots of limbs down. We had Joshua talking about trees down. We had Joshua Myers earlier talking about cars off the road. So this is one of those situations that we're going to have to continue monitoring. Even without the tornadoes that are no longer warned, we still have that watch, and those winds are most definitely doing damage.
Yeah. And here's the circulation. I've got the radar, and then we're kind of focused through the storm. We're looking into it. As Melissa mentioned, these rotations can pop up so fast. Well, there's another one, and this one's in southern Washington County, and this is the type of storm that produced the tornado warning earlier in northwestern Crawford County and eastern Sequoia County. So this could become tornado warned as it travels towards the West Fork area. It's got that circulation. It's ahead of the line, and this could be moving close to Greenland and West Fork. So this is why we can't let our guard down. New severe thunderstorm warning just becoming issued right now. We'll take a look at that. And
it's going to be for Benton and Washington counties until 12:30 a.m.
Well, there's our Benton County warning, finally.
And like we said, back to those winds that are going 70 miles an hour, hail that's 3/4 of an inch large.
Unfortunately, our cameras won't be able to see any of this. Well, it looks like that rotation weakened, so that's good news. Yeah, it's kind of flared up a little bit, and then it died out. So we got a storm that's rotating west of Bella Vista now. There's a little bit of weak rotation southwest of Bella Vista near Hiwassee. This is definitely a tornado-prone area of northwest Arkansas. It's not anything super significant at the moment, but it's something to watch. You can see those bright reds showing up. In fact, I got to switch the radar source here as we were looking into that storm. Here comes the rumbles of thunder, and now if people were sleeping before, they're not anymore. So I want to show you here, if we look at the radar, Mega Doppler, and we'll take a look at this storm. So, Melissa, go ahead and take that call. It's a viewer down in the Winslow area, and he might be experiencing this storm as it's coming through that has that potential rotation with it. So that he's located just northwest of Winslow, right off of Highway 74, Devil's Den Road. So power's been knocked out.
Power's out in Winslow.
Okay, we got power out in Winslow, so that's a report.
Pretty windy there, I'm assuming.
And very windy, and so yeah, you can hear Melissa taking calls here in the Weather Center. New severe thunderstorm warning for Benton County. This is going until 12:30. We're about to get close to the bedtime as the storm moves out. So I do want to go to our Mega Doppler source here and take a look at this storm. So we'll bring that up. And we'll take a look here at what we've got. A lot of storms, a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. We're going to kind of take a look in detail at what's happening with our Mega Doppler source. And we've got storms that are all across, I mean, every single storm that you see on here, except for southwest Missouri. It's the only area that doesn't have a severe thunderstorm warning. Other than that, every other county, every other area has that severe thunderstorm warning. So we'll zoom in and we'll take our little radar tour, if we will. Bella Vista, again, this is that area of circulation that could be popping up. If we take a look right there, a little bit of bright reds. It's rain that's moving away from the radar. Green colors moving towards. It's not a very strong circulation, but this type of environment, anything can spin up and quickly produce a brief spin up. So as we work our way south, we got another area of little rotation. It's just north of Highway 62, very close to the Prairie Grove area. Why don't we take a look at that and zoom in on that, and you'll see exactly what that's got. So we'll zoom way in, and we'll take a look at that at Prairie Grove. And so Viney Grove, northwest of Walnut Grove. Again, not a big deal, but it could develop a little bit more. I don't think it's going to, though. And then as we work our way to the southeast, there's some storms coming into West Fork. Nothing tornadic at all there. A little bit of a circulation now that's showing up very close to The Winslow area, a little bit of stronger rotation right there. We'll take a look and see if the radar is picking up on that as we look at what's called the basically the velocity, and so there's the little circulation indication. But just to show you the scale here, earlier, and if you've been watching severe weather coverage the whole time, I commend you, because it's a long time. We've been on the air for quite a while.